In this video, I'm going to show you how your LinkedIn profile should look. I'm going to walk through my own profile step by step, which I just updated prior to filming this video after reading through all kinds of posts and articles so that you don't have to. You're welcome. On this channel, I talk a lot about LinkedIn, Instagram, personal branding, and other social media platforms. A lot of practical advice to looking good online. If those topics interest you, I'd love for you to stick around here a little more often. Consider subscribing and hitting that bell to be notified when I post next. Now I'm going to move over to my computer, share my screen, and show you how your LinkedIn profile should look. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share my own LinkedIn profile. I just recently, as I mentioned, made some updates on here, and I think that the updates I've made are going to be useful for you to see so that you can think about this as you're updating your own. Let's start at the top where we have two images working together that really show people who you are, right? What you look like, but also this is simulating the in-person experience. So you want to have a great profile photo, ideally cropped in fairly close to your face. It should be a good photo of you, ideally professionally taken, but work with what you have. If you don't have great photos yet, then that's something you should consider getting, and just choose what you've got that's going to work best. If you've got a photo of you looking at the camera, great. I usually don't. I usually look off camera, so that's why this photo is this one. And then in addition, I'm using a photo with some graphic design elements in behind as my cover photo. Now, with your cover photo, you want to ideally have more than just a photo of you. So here you could be showing projects you've been working on. In this case, since I'm a speaker and a strategist, I have media publications, which tell someone quickly that I'm qualified, as an expert in my field. So here I'm showing the media icons. You can be creative with what you show up here, and I would say remember that this shows up on desktop and also shows up on mobile, so you need to be super careful. So you need to be super careful to make sure that it crops well on both. As we work down the profile here, next would be the headline. So here, you want to make sure that you incorporate keywords. Tell people what you do, so you might want to reiterate your job title, but you also, I recommend having a brand sentence or some, keyword-filled sentence that illustrates what people could expect from you or what they could hire you for. For me, my LinkedIn profile is geared towards speaking engagements and attracting, potential companies that want to hire me to work with their executives. So I say certain words like personal branding, digital marketing, social media strategy, leaders, corporations, employees, and entrepreneurs. Lots of keywords in there, right? And so you want to think about that. Another thing that's handy before I scroll too far down is to show you the importance of setting a profile URL that's custom. So I'm going to open up a new window here. You can actually edit and set a custom URL for your LinkedIn profile. As you can see, if you click here, you can edit it. You can have up to 100 letters or numbers. And for me, it just makes sense to use my social media handle. So that's consistent right there. That's just a good idea. I'm going to click back to my profile, but that's a really good idea. If you haven't customized your profile URL yet, you definitely should. So I'm going to move down my profile. This section is called About, or as we would call it, your LinkedIn summary. So here I have just a few short paragraphs so that it's easy for people to read that illustrates to someone who I am, why they should care, quick highlights of my career, including media, types of clients, speaking engagements, and where in the world I've spoken, as well as my total number of clients, countries, years, and really, my perspective on how I do my work, why I do it. Okay, so that's just a written section. I also like when people here, I haven't done this yet, but when they specify, here's who I'm looking to get in touch with, or they specify their contact information. You could even put your email address here. Be really clear with your expectations and what you want, what action you want people to take. As we move down the profile, so here you can see the featured section. I love this section. In fact, I just took down some old links here, but I'm in the process of updating this with new links. But right here, this is, the first real hyperlinked visual opportunity on your profile that's hugely important. So for me, my speaking reel, I've set a Vimeo link where literally with one click, this will now open up Vimeo and people can watch my speaker's reel, right? And so you want to think really strategically. If you only have one link, it shows it nice and big with the preview text. As soon as you start adding more links here, it will show them as smaller thumbnails. You can have one prominent link, one call to action, or you can have multiple. So think about that in this exciting little spot called featured. As we scroll down, we get to experience. This is an important one. I think this is how we know LinkedIn, kind of like a resume. Many people make the mistake of only having one position within a company. Let's say, for example, you're self-employed, but you actually do two different things. For a long time, I only listed myself as a brand strategist, when in actual fact, I do two things in my company. I'm a brand strategist working one-on-one with clients. Okay, so here, not only do I have a written description of that, the timeline, the location, but also a clickable, hyperlink to my website where I have portfolio examples. Okay. Let me just click out of that. So then here I also have the fact that I'm a keynote speaker, which is hugely important to my work, right? And if people want to see an example of where I've spoken or some full length, talks that I've done, they click here and that will take them right over to this live YouTube link of me speaking on stage. So you want to think about, okay, when it comes to experience, do I have more than one role within my organization? Am I attracting two different types of audiences? If so, then break it out, into more than one. Spend some time with the copy here. I prefer when it's short. I also like when people, inject some creativity and some examples of storytelling and the types of jobs, right, that you describe, the types of work that you do. So don't just tell us the nuts and bolts, I did this and here are my responsibilities, but tell us how you changed someone's life, right? Take time to actually, do some storytelling here and inject some creativity into that. Okay, so pretty basic education. Skills and endorsements, you may not know that actually you can pin your skills here. So it will automatically, by default, just pin the 3 that you get tagged with the most. So, but those 3 might not always be the ones that you really want to hit people with. So for example, I have over 99 skills that others have pinned for me under entertainment, but entertainment's not really what I do anymore, so it's not one that I want to feature. So really look at what options you have available to you. I've gone through all of these for myself, and I've selected brand strategy, public speaking, and social media marketing are 3 keywords that describe what I do, and those are really important. So even though those aren't 99, right, people can click here and see more. You can see all of them. I don't really think the number associated with these is hugely important, but certainly to have some control over the ones you preview, I think is a good idea so people get a flavor of how you want to be known. Finally, I want to talk about recommendations briefly. I've talked about this in other videos if you've seen me talk about LinkedIn, but I'm a big fan of recommendations on LinkedIn as opposed to asking for a testimonial and putting it on your website and editing it, etc. I love the fact that you can request a recommendation from someone and it shows their profile, right? Their face, their job title. Someone can click on that live person. There's no way to fake this or make this up. So if you're going to ask for testimonials, the best place to do it is right here on LinkedIn. You have to be connected with that person first, okay? So you cannot request a recommendation from someone you're not already connected to. But once you're connected, it's very simple. You go to their profile and you click the options and you click request a recommendation, right? And I usually remind that person, I say, this is the first place that conference organizers look before hiring speakers. I really appreciate you taking the time to share some kind words. Anytime someone says something nice about me, it could be in person, it could be at the end of a talk. When they give me a compliment, could be by email, could be by Instagram DM. Anytime they say something nice about me, I ask them in that moment, before they forget, before everyone gets too busy, I ask them in that moment, would you be open to leaving a recommendation for me here on LinkedIn? And they say, 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, they say yes. So get it, acquire it quickly in that moment. That's my best recommendation. And I love sending, people that are thinking of hiring me here to this spot on LinkedIn on my profile. There you have it, a little walk through my profile so that you can update yours. And if you haven't seen it yet, I've got another video that walks through 6 tips for your LinkedIn profile. I cover a few of the same things mentioned here, but in a little bit more detail, so you might want to check that out. I will link to that over here. I also recommend checking out my LinkedIn Tips for Beginners PDF. This freebie is really helpful if you're updating your profile and looking to develop a strategy to improve your efforts on LinkedIn. That is linked below as well. Now I want to hear from you. What is the first thing that you're going to be updating? What are you excited about? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, I would appreciate a like and consider subscribing for more videos on social media strategy, branding, and practical advice to look good online. Now we've talked about your profile, how it should look in this video. Next, I'm going to link through to some videos that I think you'll find helpful. I'm Pallen. Thanks so much for watching. And those videos that I think you're going to find helpful are coming up next.